Munich, The Edge of War stars George MacKay as Hugh, a British diplomat who travels to Munich in the run-up to World War II, where a former classmate of his from Oxford is also en route, but is working for the German government. This is directed by Schrosso, and I apologize if I got that wrong, and it's based on the book Munich by Robert Harris, having just hit Netflix after premiering at the BFI London Film Festival in October. It's a political thriller that features a fictional story taking place within real events. While our main character Hugh and his classmate Paul are both fictional, this does feature real figures, most notably British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, played by Jeremy Irons. It's a very dialogue-driven film that aims to crank up the suspense almost primarily through conversations, as is typically the case with a lot of political thrillers, and that's always a risky move, as film is of course a very visual medium, and you need to make sure that the film's paced right and that the dialogue is rich and meaningful if that's going to be your primary focus. Now, what I will say is the performances here are all solid. George MacKay does a great job in his comfort zone after leading 1917, and here he gives a much more restrained performance that's a bit of a change of pace from that film, but he makes our lead Hugh a compelling enough character. But the other big standout is Jeremy Irons, who only has so many scenes but graces the screen each time he appears, giving a naturally charismatic performance as he usually does that gives the film a nice boost of energy that exudes through all of his clear faults as he butts heads with Hugh. Giannis Neuner plays Paul, who was once friends with Hugh but is siding with Germany, and there are a number of scenes where the two get into heated exchanges over their conflicting views of the war, which were well done, and I'd say he gave a pretty solid performance as well. Despite the film portraying partially fictional events, the target audience is primarily going to be history buffs here, given all the references to actual events, people, and places that were all crucial in the lead up to the war. And because of all the performances and the solid direction, I'd say it worked well enough, with some exchanges being quite gripping. However, I wouldn't say that was consistently the case. For those who aren't into these sort of movies, I can see them dismissing this as kind of boring. With an overall restrained feel and nearly every scene being conversation-driven, the lack of urgency isn't always conveyed. It's there at a number of points, but it's not consistent. A number of scenes feel like they can go on for a tad too long, making its runtime of 2 hours and 10 minutes feel bloated. It's not that this otherwise does anything necessarily egregious, it's just that it doesn't do too much to make itself feel accessible to anyone who's not as well versed in the minute details behind these historical events, given its reliance on name-dropping and event references over any major character arcs or emotional resonance. And as someone who isn't completely into political thrillers, I thought Munich: The Edge of War was fine. It's well acted, and there are a number of ripping dialogue-driven scenes that make it engaging enough. However, it doesn't feel all that accessible to anyone who isn't a big history buff or into these sort of movies to begin with. Its restrained feel, bloated runtime, and lack of major character arcs can be frustrating for those who aren't in that target audience, and I'd say the good outweighs the bad, but it also feels like a niche movie, and personally, I don't fall into that niche. Munich: The Edge of War gets a 6 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Munich: The Edge of War, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Was this one of your favorite political thriller movies? Was it one of your favorite Jeremy Irons movies? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.